I think India has tremendous potential. Part of that is the sheer size of the population. Part as well is the dynamism of the population. India has a very dynamic business population, a very savvy middle class, and has tremendous potential as far as infrastructure is concerned and all sorts of developmental areas. So plenty of potential. The issue, as ever, is whether that potential will be realised. We've been steadily moving the portfolio towards our own model portfolio, so we've taken out some of the names that we were less comfortable with and added to names that were already in the portfolio, or indeed introduced one or two companies to the portfolio. We find potential wherever they're good companies, and we find particularly good companies amongst India's financials. So some of its leading financials are very strong, very sound businesses. Some of the consumer stocks, some of them are global household names. And then areas that India's done exceptionally well in have been IT services. So there are a variety of companies in that area that we think are world leaders. So there's no shortage of good companies in India. Our key concerns about India are in a sense, twofold. One is that India is still a relatively expensive stock market. That is compared to other stock markets within the Asia-Pacific region. It is a lot cheaper today than it was a year or two ago because it's been a poor performing market and we've had earnings come through. So India is now trading at about 17 times earnings. Not cheap, but not hugely expensive. So that's our lesser concern. Our greater concern in India, I'm afraid, is a concern we've had really since day one in India, and it has been to do with the leadership of the country and the political leadership of the country and how it impacts upon the economy has been poor and continues to be poor. The current government of Manmohan Singh has been very disappointing, and that really is our key concern. India's exposure to Europe is thankfully fairly minimal, so the effects of what's going on in Europe or indeed in North America directly are very, very minor, but indirectly India is succumbing to what the rest of the world is, which is lower growth. There are some market issues that we're still pressing on in India, particularly to give more balance sheet disclosures at interim reporting levels, and that's very important for us, and cash flow disclosures. But the sense of corporate governance amongst the big companies is pretty well embedded in India. I think for us the key to successful investing is doing one's homework, and we concentrate on doing our homework really at the company level, because ultimately you are buying shares in the companies. And the good news about India is that India has some really, really strong companies, not just in the context of India, or indeed even in Asia, but it has some global leaders within India, so it's got some great companies. Yes, there are issues external to those companies, primarily political issues, but for us, concentrating on making the right investments in individual companies should see investors through what can be a tricky path over the years.